What is going on today, guys? We have the developer from Vi Finance in the hot seat, and we get to grill him with questions, make him feel uncomfortable, get inside his brain and find out, hey, is this guy scamming us? Is this an actually good investment? Can we sink our hard-earned money and time into? We're gonna figure that out by just talking, because you get like that belly to belly feel, if you get a good gut feeling about someone, and we need to see if we get that from him. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I am on a journey to 2 Bitcoins. I just previously got my 1 Bitcoin in 6 months, 0 to 1 Bitcoin in 6 months, and I'm helping as many people as I can reach their first Bitcoin. Of course, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a cowboy. I have a little lizard brain, gorilla arms, and diamond hands exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency. If you want to join me and a whole bunch of other crazy cowboys, hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell for any updated content. Give us a like button on this channel if you want to help us grow this platform, if you believe in the mission. If, of course, you're just feeling generous, that's always grateful. And look, the number one thing I could tell you is get around a community of people, investors in crypto who believe in crypto. The best way to do that, head to the Telegram channel. We call it the Saloon. Head to the website, become an official cowboy of crypto, and sign up there. It's so important for you to be around community people, especially when those dips happen or when those moon pumps are happening right now. You need like good instincts. You need people good around you to tell you, hey, that's not good, or that might be a good idea. Now, we have got the developer of Vi Finance here, and here's the problem. The problem is that there's a whole bunch of other YouTubers out there who are just like reading websites, and they don't really care about any projects. They just care about being paid. And you and I go to these YouTubers and we're like, okay, we can't really dissect as much information out as they're just reading a website. And so I came up with a win-win-win strategy. And the win-win-win strategy is I get to interview and grill and put them in a hot seat, right? The developers, and they get to, talk about their project in depth, and they could with excitement and energy. And then I get compensated, and you and I get the best source of information on whether or not we could invest in this project. Now, we have, if you were listening to this podcast or watching this video right now, we have the developer from Vi Finance, and he's going to be in the hot seat. His name is Steven, and Steven, welcome to the hot seat.
Hello, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You sound great. You look even better, and so I'm just excited to just chop it up with you here. Look, before we get into what Vi Finance is, I have to get into your head. Who is Steven? Who are you? And what's your bit of your origin story coming into crypto?
Coming into crypto? All right. Now, I am an Australian guy, really. So that's essentially where I come from. I'm Australian, also Italian. My journey into crypto has been a long and wide one. Everyone's had their own journeys, of course. Mine started back in 2016, where I made a lot of money and then lost a lot of money, like a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But prior to that, I was actually working in a hedge fund as a trader, and I was working in short-term interest rate markets. From there, I moved into banking and finance, where I eventually found myself working as a stockbroker. So I went into investment advice, essentially. And then from there, I decided to strike out on my own, to be perfectly honest. I did 6 years in industry, and then I was like, I think I want to manage my own project. I've been trading the whole time, and I thought I was ready. So here we are.
So that was, you said you started that in like 2016, and then 6 years ago, was that like about right now,
Well,
2021. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I started my professional career about the time I started crypto, when I worked into the hedge fund.
Gotcha. And so you were a hedge fund trader, and I'm taking notes here, and then you were in banking and finance and stocks and investment and stock advice and investment advice. So can I just borrow your brain for all this crypto stuff? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like a little lizard brain. You seem to have this big hedge fund brain. And I talk about all the time on the channel, like, guys, just do what the hedge funds are doing, guys. Don't overthink this stuff. They got all the brains over there. You're the brains. You're the dudes. Okay, so let's get into it, man. I hope you prove it to me on this channel or on this. We're all eagerly waiting to hear you talk. So let's talk about Vi Finance. You want to strike it out on your own. These guys don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how they're going in a place where you don't want to go. What is Vi Finance? What's it all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vi Finance is we're a bit of a original interpretation of a DEX. right? So if you guys do decentralized finance, a DEX is a decentralized exchange, like PancakeSwap. Sorry. Now, what we're doing is we're actually integrating our DEX with a liquidity aggregator as a top layer. And we're designing that liquidity aggregator. That's, by the way, an auto harvester. So that's where you would put in money, and then rather than manage the decentralized finance of that yourself, you let someone do that on your behalf. An example of this would be Yearn, Harvest.finance. There's a few auto harvesters out there.
Okay, so you're gonna have to, so you dropped in a lot of big words for me. Okay, I got a little lizard brain, and there's a lot of like
I'm
brand new
sorry.
people just like me. Okay,
Yeah,
you
of
had
course.
7 years of this is how hedge fund people talk. They talk in alien code right now. Okay, so guys, but just hang with me. Okay, so a DEX is a decentralized exchange. I get that. So a centralized exchange is like Binance, and you trade through there. A DEX is you trade through liquidity pools. Okay, so I get that. What the heck is a liquidity aggregator?
So that is essentially where we're looking at, rather than, as you said, right, a lot of people are new to this field, right? A lot of people don't have much experience, particularly managing funds within liquidity pools. And I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but that's one of the principal reasons why our project is on Cardano, because the focus of Cardano is to bring people from new markets onto the blockchain, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So when we're looking at getting people from new markets who are not comfortable using financial instruments, even simple ones like depositing accounts, withdrawal accounts, a simple overdraft.
I wasn't feel, dude. Binance had me taking pictures like a prisoner and writing numbers.
That's it.
So I'm not comfortable with this. All right. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Absolutely. And when you then want those people that don't have experience and don't have knowledge to start actually managing liquidity pools themselves, that's a huge ask, right? Like it's a lot of work for me, and I'm an ex hedge funder, right? Now, what a liquidity aggregator allows us to do is, rather than you managing those liquidity pools yourself, if you don't have the time and or don't have the knowledge, you would put the funds into a liquidity aggregator, and they aggregate the investment for you. In other words, they put it all together, and then we take that off and manage that on the blockchain.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you manage my assets for me, just like a hedge fund, just like a hedge fund. Got you. Okay, liquidity aggregator. So would it be? I mean, this is kind of off topic. Is a hedge fund like just a fiat aggregator?
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now, what we're going to be doing as well is that we're not actually going to be managing that ourselves. We're designing what's called a neural net to actually be taking care of that.
What is that?
Have you ever heard of a neural net?
What? I don't even know what word is coming out of your mouth. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm not sure if it's Australian and I'm Filipino. Like there's some kind of like this kind of a mural.
Neural, like the brain.
Oh, neural. Oh,
yes.
okay.
Neural net. Now, essentially, what that is that's an algorithm that teaches itself how to perform tasks.
Okay.
Right? And you give it a task, and you tell it these are the optimal outcomes that we want for this task, and then it goes ahead and finds the best ways to go about doing that. So in this circumstance, the task that we're going to be giving the neural net is to optimize liquidity across yield farms. In other words, optimize ADA that comes in from the front across platforms to get us the best possible return.
Got it. So let me repeat that back to you so I kind of get it. You've got your liquidity aggregator, which is like, let's say that's the machine. And inside the machine is a brain, and that's the neural net.
That's
and
perfect.
So if I give them my ADA, my whatever coin, Bitcoin, I give it to that aggregator. It's using its neural net, and it's getting smarter every time, like Brainiac. It's going to look at, I'm going to look at Yearn, I'm going to look at Aave, I'm going to look at Compound, these different yield farms, and all of them. I'm going to be like, okay, this one works here. Nope, this one works here, and it's going to trade in between each one. Is that what we're talking about here?
That's exactly it.
So you're not talking. You're talking about just a computer, like an algorithm that's scientific, that gets better the more it trades with you.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it's actually really interesting because the reason they're called neural nets, by the way, is they actually use the exact same design as the human brain. So if you think about speech, right, when you're learning to talk, but you look at it from a biological perspective, what's happening is your brain is making connections between neurons. You're trying to say a word, and then your brain has to find the fastest path between the neurons to be able to effectively perform that action, right? So what you're doing with a neural net is you're basically saying, here's a task that we want you to learn, and now there are 20,000 paths for you to get there, right? Find me the most efficient path between the neurons to get me to the desired result.
Yeah, I get it. So now in this case, you're telling the neural net, hey, I want you to make as much money as you possibly can.
In the simplest form possible, yes, that's how you'd describe it.
Okay.
But what we're doing more specifically is we're looking at return against risk.
Okay,
Because we're
so
going to be-
maybe my sentence wasn't done. I want you to make as much money as you possibly can with or in conjunction with the lowest risk possible.
Yes, depending on what the user's tolerance is, right? So we're going to have a few different risk tolerances that you can engage with, either a low risk, medium risk, high risk.
Ah, okay. So now the neural net has, let's say, 3 options, and you go up to it and say, okay, I don't like a low. You could type it in, right? You could plug it in. I don't like lots of risk. Low risk. That means obviously low reward. Okay, so no problem.
Absolutely.
And so it connects and it finds the best pathway. Now let me ask you what might be a stupid question. I'm not sure. I've got a little. I'm just trying to you're stretching my lizard brain right now, right?
Ask away.
So does this mean it's always is it learning from people that already picked a low risk? Is there only 3? If say another cowboy crypto over here is picking a low risk thing, and then I pick the same one, is it computing data from both sides?
We're actually going to be having 3 separate machines, right? So would have a low risk machine whose brain is specializing in a low risk strategy, a medium risk machine whose brain is specializing in a medium risk strategy, and a high risk machine whose brain is specializing in a high risk strategy.
Makes sense.
Right?
Makes
and
sense.
then from there, each brain would be learning independently how to optimize that strategy, because each strategy is going to have its own, well, as I'm sure you know from having traded yourself, running high risk and running low risk, very different thing.
Yeah. Makes sense. Now, is there a mixture of both? I guess that's the medium risk, right?
Yeah, that's the medium risk, right?
Okay.
And what we're looking at doing, and this is of course initial design. We're looking at having our auto harvester with the neural net integrated up in about 6 months' time, because it takes a long time to train neural nets, and we're also doing something brand new in the industry, so we want to make sure that it's working right before we actually release it.
Okay, so before we get to the brand new thing, I need to know the basics here. We're still going over the basics. What is an auto harvester?
Oh, the auto harvester is just a nicer way of saying liquidity aggregator.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because essentially, we take your liquidity and we yield farm and harvest for you. And then we deliver that harvest back to you.
I like that. That is simple knowledge for me. You do the brainiac thing, because I don't know, I'm worried about something called the thing where you,
Impermanent risk.
Impermanent risk. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm worried about that. People tell me to worry about that because then I'm worried about it. So I don't want to do it. It's just the truth. I mean, look, I can't be the only one who's thinking like this. I don't come from this background, but I know that crypto. I believe in crypto as the future, and I believe that these people are making tons of money. So, the auto harvester, the AKA the liquidity aggregator, has this neural net, this thing that's learning all the time 3 different risk tolerance strategies, and you get to pick one of the 3, and you give it your liquidity, which is your coins, basically another word for your coins, and then it just it learns it for you, and then it brings back to you. And I would assume that it's only fair that it would pull off a percentage to kick back towards Vi Finance, and then give you the majority of it. Is that about right?
The actual percentage split, and this is what makes our project also so interesting. 15%, 80% goes back to those invested, of course. 15% gets distributed to holders of Vi token. And then 5% goes to maintenance.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's great. Reflection in here. I didn't even know. Okay, so tell me.
So what? Yeah, and actually, I'd like this. This is where I get really excited about it, right? We've got a system called the Vi bar, right?
The what?
And that is where you can stake your Vi, which is our native currency, And then with that, every time a fees are earned across the ecosystem, they get distributed to the bar as Wi-Fi, and your value of your Wi-Fi in the bar, or the amount of Wi-Fi you have in the bar, goes up. So we're essentially creating an ecosystem where all the fees are being distributed back to the holders of our token through our bar and staking at our bar.
Okay, let me get this straight. You take your profits and you stake it. That means you put it in a magic box and it's continuously giving back small percentage back to you.
That's it.
And then what do you do? And then you keep that.
Withdraw it. Yeah, and then you withdraw it when you want to withdraw it. So if
And-
you imagine you put in 100 Wi-Fi to begin, right? And then after a month, we've accumulated fees from our decentralized exchange and fees from our auto harvester. They get distributed. The way that they get distributed is we use them to buy Wi-Fi and distribute it to the people at the bar, right? And that means that now you've got 112 Wi-Fi. We don't know what the return will be yet, though, I should add.
Yeah.
That's not a promise on return because we have to wait till the Cardano ecosystem's up.
Sure. Yeah, I think, well, that's another big thing, right? That's another big thing, isn't it? The Cardano ecosystem. First mover, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here, right? You're trying to be
absolutely.
a Cardano. These smart contracts are coming up. Man, I love Cardano, man. I mean, the majority of my portfolio is in Cardano. And I can't wait for that. I just think it's going to, the market cap right now is 77 billion. I think it's going to double. I think we're going to all double our bags right there easily within the matter of months. If
God, I hope you're right.
When that market cap pops up, doubles up, and Vi Finance is the number one first mover, biggest one on there. Yeah, I mean, like, sky's the limit here, right? I mean, like, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, how many other DeFi projects? I mean, I don't know of any. You're the first one, so
there aren't. It's not a big ecosystem because Cardano is hard to develop on,
no,
right?
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, we're the first liquidity aggregator planning on Cardano. We're not the first DEX. There are a few other DEXs,
Sure.
but we're certainly the first liquidity aggregator.
You're the first liquidity aggregator that
I'm aware of.
You don't know of any other ones that they're coming
Not
up.
on Cardano. No.
Oh, slam dunk. Oh, dude, slam dunk. Because it isn't developing on Cardano, like it's different. Like
Really
they had to
hard.
give you particular training or something like that, right?
Yeah, Haskell. So it uses, and to put this in perspective, because I imagine you guys don't have much tech knowledge, right? So I'll put it in a way that everyone will understand.
Yeah.
Imagine if you've spent a programmer your entire life learning English, right? And then all of a sudden they come to you and they say, "Hello, we want you to program in Arabic." Right? That's essentially what they've done. It's literally a different not just language, it's a different system, like logic system from programming. So from the ground up, it's different.
Gotcha.
Even the way you think about it.
Is it easier? Is it harder?
It's harder. It's definitely harder. It's a favorite amongst engineers.
Okay, so are you telling me how much harder is it?
It's more mathematically rigorous.
So
And
so here's
that's why I'm a fan of it, because it gives a higher level of safety.
I was about to say exactly this. This is my point that I was building to, and you could probably elaborate on this. Is that the higher level of technical jargon, right? The higher level of technical prowess needed is higher level of safety, less competition, higher quality. Is this about correct?
That's essentially what Cardano's entire focus is, yeah, right? And I can literally give you real world examples. One of the most pertinent ways in which DeFi rug pulls, that's the word, in which rug pulls take place, is that they have what's called a flash loan exploit, right? So have you heard of flash loans?
No, I haven't.
A flash loan is essentially where you borrow a loan, and in the same transaction, you have to repay that loan.
Okay.
And then you pay
Oh
a
yeah,
very
I actually
small
have
fee for
heard of
that.
this. Yep.
Yeah. Now, essentially a flash loan exploit is where you would make an exploited code that allows you to send a flash loan and then repay only 1% of the total, for example. And then because of the exploit, it allows you to keep the rest of the money that you've withdrawn from the liquidity pool, right? I'm not going to say that's the most common, but that's a common exploit that you find amongst DeFi. That happened, for example, in uranium finance. That happened, for example, in the other, I can't remember them all now. The one that I remember specifically is uranium. That's an impossible exploit in Cardano, right? Because within the actual way the code is written, you would have checksums that ensure that if you've got a system that allows for a loan, then you just have a checksum that says any loan must be repaid with that amount.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right? And the way that the checksums work, unless you meet that criteria, the execution has never actually taken place.
So
right,
this makes a good point, because then, I mean, just hearing that, like, right, you're speaking it and I'm trying to understand it, but here's what I really understand is that if you're a scammer and you're a skeezer and you're a scumbag and you're trying to, you know, pick up some extra stuff, so scam some people on Cardano, you're gonna have to learn a massive amount. It's good. The work it takes to learn and to scam is much higher. You gotta learn a whole nother language. You gotta learn Arabic to scam people in Arabia, which is Cardano. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes. It's actually a good example of one that I think we can use, and I don't know if this will be the case yet, but I'm very much hoping so, is Mac and Windows back in the early days of Mac and Windows. If you remember, all the viruses were in Windows computers, and Macs had that.
This is a good example.
Get a virus.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, with respect to that does change, because people's capacities change with time.
Sure.
But I'm hoping that at least at the beginning and for the first few years, that will be the case for the Cardano blockchain.
Sure, but that's okay, because Cardano will change and evolve and adapt also,
exactly.
So it's already ahead of the curve. This is fantastic news, because a lot of just Cardano in itself is trying to get to new market share, onboard people that are not previously on crypto. And so with heightened security, heightened safety, which is like, you know, Bitcoin and crypto already have this like skeezer, you know, stigma about it. Like, oh, it's like, you know, Silk Road, blah, 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 you know, it's only the criminals. And so when you really think like, hey, Cardano is a source of like actual genius and a proper way to make money, like, I think it'll prove to be a onboard a lot of people based on a lot of credibility, a lot of trust, a lot of safety, security, which is great. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's what we're really hoping for, right? And that I want to actually take that to the next part of our ecosystem, right?
Sure.
Because we're building that DEX, which is the second layer, and that's what we'll be launching with our DEX and with our farms. But the movement of those new people coming onto Cardano, right? Or I shouldn't say the movement, sorry. The process that it takes for them to be able to have Cardano and then be able to effectively manage that Cardano on a decentralized finance platform, as far as I can see, doesn't exist for anybody anywhere at the moment. Right? There's YouTube channels like yourself, which certainly assist people, and you have communities, but there's no formal process that will take someone on a platform and go, okay, this is how we can do it for you, but you can also do it yourself, and this is how you do it. Right? So what we're really focusing on building is an educational layer that moves people from the liquidity aggregator at the top through to managing the money themselves at the DEX at the bottom. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you look
so
like
so
you're
saying, are you saying you're giving me a roadmap on how to? So I was just operating a software today. It's a new software to me, not new to a lot of people, but I was like, I don't freaking understand this, right? And so, but it had here, click here if you want to do this. Had a little video. Okay, watch a little video. Okay, is that what we're talking about here? Like a little
That's
like
exactly
roadmap?
what we're describing. Yes.
This is what I'm talking about, guys. Okay, let me just pause this interview right here.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to contain the excitement that I have about this project.
Thank you.
Steven, I don't mean to interrupt you or ignore you for a second, but I just need to talk to someone who's watching this video. Do you hear the genius that is coming out of this man's mouth? Like this is like a Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan moment, right? Do you understand the words that are coming out of this man's mouth? He is saying that, look, let's just let's look at the genius first and then look at the context. The genius of this thing is that it's liquidity. It's a learning machine for you and me that have little lizard brains, that we don't have this backing of a hedge fund knowledge or whatever, but he's taking the how a hedge fund works, and I'm sure there's other things like this, but this is right here on Cardano, and there's, as far as he knows, as far as I know, this is the only one, and so you have first mover, we put our money in it, it learns it itself, and then it does it it does it a better way than we could do it ourselves, basically. And you
Hopefully.
could select different risk tolerances. And then we take that, and then we could stake that and then earn more money off of those profits. Even better. Then there's reflections. Even better. 15% reflections. Even better. On top of that, let's add to the context is that it's first to move on Cardano. Cardano is extremely difficult to learn. It's brand new, and it's blowing up. It's number 3 in cryptocurrency in the world right now. And you've got like how the hedge. I've been talking this for the longest. This is why we watch. This is why we whale watch these wallets. This is why I talk about the hedge funds and how they move their institutional money and all that stuff. We've got one of their brains right here in front of us, telling us how this thing works. So I love everything I'm hearing so far. And I am in awe. Like, who am I to interview you, right? Like, because you have all this knowledge and wisdom that I could glean from. So talk to me about some of this stuff. Let's just continue.
Yeah. Can I actually? Is there any way that I could show a very quick diagram on the screen? Because it's super simple.
How about you send it to me and maybe I could.
Yeah, and you show it.
Yeah, Perfect. Yeah, I could do that. And
but anyway, continue with the chatting.
Sorry yeah, so send it through the Telegram. But here's what I could do. I want to see some movement on this. Is there a pre-sale?
Yeah, so we've got an ICO starting in 5 days, I believe.
I'm on it.
So I'm really excited about that.
Help me get on that.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be super simple. We're going to have an automated system that allows you to just go onto our website, send ADA to the wallet, and then it'll automatically send you back Wi-Fi.
Okay.
The ICO rate is 60 cents of Wi-Fi.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Whatever it is now, I know it's gonna friggin' moon back up. This just like
gonna go up.
I just kind of feel it. That you know what I mean. Okay, Steven, we got this here. I know it's a little small, but here we are. This is Vi Finance. What am I looking at here?
Yeah, this is essentially a breakdown of what I've been describing to you in words, and we've tried to make it as simple as possible. At the top, we've got our auto harvester, right? And that's the liquidity aggregator we've been discussing. In the middle, we've got our liquidity pools, our DEX, and our exchanges, right? Let's just start with those two to begin. We're taking the share from the exchanges, so part of the fees from the exchanges, and part of the farm from the auto harvester, and sharing it to our bar, which are the holders of our Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Right? At the bottom, we are getting all the licensing so that we can do the exact same thing, but we do it with fiat. Right? So people have an app on their phone, they deposit cash into the app, and then we just take that cash and we throw it into our auto harvester. And the exact same process takes place, but we manage it for them in cash. That is, if you look at our timeline, that we're intending to do that starts in about a year's time. We're hoping to have that begin to be up and running.
Okay.
So we're doing, the top row is for people who are new to crypto, but don't really know how to engage. We build an educational layer to take them down to the middle row, which is designed for people that are comfortable with crypto. And then at the bottom, we've got the layer for people who aren't comfortable with investing in crypto, but do see the benefits of doing so. And then we let us do it for them, and they can manage it in cash.
Got it. So that first top layer, that first top row, auto harvest and yield farm, that is taking the 15%, putting it into the bar, and then that is basically staking it, right? And then it kicks it out back, right?
Yes, and then it kicks it back to the holders of Wi-Fi.
Got it. So the liquidity pool is something that people are used to trading on,
Pancake.
right?
Yeah,
Pancake
just like
swap.
Pancake, one of those, right? So you supply liquidity, you farm that liquidity, and then you exchange between tokens.
Got it.
And then a percentage of each of the exchanges. We've actually got a lower fee than Pancake. Pancake is 0.25%. We're 0.22, but don't hold me to that. That can change.
Yeah.
And of that, 0.05% of every exchange is delivered to our bar.
But this is the real interesting one, right? This is where you're taking people who have zero desire, maybe not desire, maybe there's a lot of fear here. People who don't want to get into crypto but see the use of it. But but there's some like technical heightened level of technicality that they don't want to even try to learn. Because some of these people might not even know how to turn on their computer or answer their emails, but they got a lot of money. Is that what we're talking about here?
That's exactly who we're talking about here.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about, guys. I've thought for the longest time, right? Crypto is right now a young man's game. Right now, it is like someone who needs to be able to, like, not just a young man, right? That's a metaphor, right? It's for people who are spry enough to understand technology, because you got to click on this liquidity pool, you got to click on this thing, and it's hard for me to understand it, and I'm pretty savvy and techie at least, but there are these old money, right? There's some old money here who might not see crypto all of it as like useful or not, but they do see it as an investment opportunity, and they might have worked their whole lives for some money, and they might be sitting on some bags and trying to put their money to work somehow, but they don't want to learn how to get a wallet, let alone turn on their phone. And so you're giving that opportunity to make money off of crypto and enter more people into the space. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. And
I got my 6 shooters out, and this is
and
it.
The one thing I want to also say is, you said that this might be being done on other blockchains. As far as I'm aware, this is an original design that I have invented.
Interesting.
So this liquidity aggregator, educational layer into a DEX, and then back-ended by an actual hedge fund where we're managing fiat. It is going to be a 2-year endeavor to get it all built, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
Sure.
But
You're right.
That,
I haven't heard of this. I've heard of the
original design.
I've heard of the auto farmer, auto harvester, liquidity aggregator. I've heard of that before. I've heard. I haven't heard of like a. I've heard of course, a DEX. I haven't heard of like helping me through the DEX, which is which is new to me, and I definitely haven't heard of that. Like coming up with a
hedge fund.
Yeah, hedge fund basically, and that makes sense. I mean, this is your background. This is why I ask that kind of stuff, because this I always feel like crypto is an extension of the person, right? Like your projects are an extension of who you are, and so. Wow.
And actually, there is one part that I want to add to that. Part of the reason why I'm so focused on education, we run an education channel on our Discord. We've also got an analyst on there. I highly recommend swinging by yourself and having a squiz.
Sure.
We've had a very good couple of weeks. But outside of that, I was a private tutor for 7 years, right? So I tutored physics, maths, and chemistry.
Time out. What are you saying? Oh, tutor.
Tutor.
Yeah.
Tutelage. Yeah. So I did that as my job through university, and then even after university, I kept doing it as a. It pays good money. It pays very good money.
Sure.
And
I'm Asian, bro. I don't need to. We don't get tutors, all right? We get the whip. We get the belt.
Yeah,
that's our tutor.
Get the whip. Yeah, absolutely.
Learn more. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all right. That's great. I know. I am sorry. It's not great. You shouldn't have to do that. That is true.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that sort of educational aspect is very much part of who I am as a person. It also comes in as my father was a lecturer, my mother's a high school teacher. So my entire life I've been surrounded by that education,
big brains.
right?
Education, big brains. Yeah, got it.
So that's why this entire project, the first thing that we started with this project was actually our trading education channel on Discord. So that is what, at my core, what I see being the fundamental to this project is to actually educate people on what these systems are and to assist them in interacting with these systems in whichever way they find as comfortable for them, right? And that's where this idea grew from.
Yeah, so, it's really interesting. There's a certain type of genius. Wait, who said this? I think it's Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo who said this. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And by that he meant that keeping things simple and easy to understand and straightforward is very, very difficult. And so there is a certain type of genius that is needed to help, little lizard brain people like me understand these higher level financial concepts, and this not only just financial concepts of like, aggregating and picking the best yield farming, but also the technical know-how of navigating through all that. Like those are two very, very difficult concepts to understand, and it only takes time. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to how you intend to do that. Keep it like, KISS, right? keep it
Yeah.
simple, super stupid. You know,
I
that's
can, we
just,
can actually give you a little bit of information on that. We're constructing an LMS, which is a learning management system. And anyone who's deposited ADA into our auto harvester, so holds the actual LP token or holds the token that represents that they're in the auto harvester, would
yeah.
gain access to our LMS.
Oh yeah, I'm all about that. I need access, so let me
Yeah.
deposit some. I need some access.
So that, and by the way, I should also add that LMS is looking to be launched 3 to 4 months after we launch with the actual site, right?
Okay.
Because we want to be launching that LMS around the same time as the auto harvester.
Got it. Okay. So, let me ask you a few. Is this all about ViFinance? Have we covered the breadth of like the scope?
Yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
pretty much covered the scope of what ViFinance does. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
Do
a
you
big
have
one.
anything exciting coming up that's like secret that you've kind of kept close to the
Close to our
chest?
chest.
Yeah, and that you
Look.
want to just give me a little something. Give me a little piece here.
Give you a little piece.
Give me a little exclusive here.
We have almost finished our bar contract will be finished by the end of the week, which means we finished our decks and we finished our bar.
Oh wow! So everything's moving really quickly here.
Yeah. Now we've got to do our back end, just our back end, which means so people can actually look at the prices themselves, and then we've got to UI it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's very
so-
difficult too.
Yeah, that is going to be a bit of work, but we are also fortunate that we've got a very capable team.
Awesome.
We've already started on the design, right? So we've started putting things together so that we can just plug and play.
Great.
We would be hoping to have something up on testnet beginning, let's say, around the time that they're launching with smart contracts will be around when we're up on the testnet on the 11th to 12th of September.
Yeah, about September 12th.
Yep.
Okay.
And then assuming that all of that goes well and that the launch of the smart contracts go well, we should be launched within, 2 to 4 weeks thereafter.
Wow. Did not know that. 2 to 4 weeks. So here's what I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing this.
By the way, with the minimum viable product, not with the full ecosystem. We have the
Exactly.
decks,
Yeah,
the farms, and the
100%.
bar.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it was 2 hours or 2 years for that last hedge fund piece, and then just running tests and stuff. Minimal viable product is a good. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this as like a minimum 3-year hold, and I'm seeing this as like a big opportunity for investors like myself to just ape in and just let the brains do its work, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm not no financial advisor. I can't tell you how to invest. I can't tell anyone how to invest. What do I know? It took me 6 months to earn 1 Bitcoin. That's a long time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
pretty
this
good.
makes so much sense, right? I just wish I got into Aave when it was like one. I wish I got into Compound and Yearn when it was like a penny. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff. This is very interesting. This is very. I am so happy I was able to talk to you, Steve. I am. I want to keep on talking, man. Okay,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Let me ask you some context here. Let me just like rapid fire. How big is your team?
Our team at the moment is full-time. Yeah, full-time we've got 9, total 15.
Wow. Okay. 9 total full-time people.
Yeah.
How many part-time?
6.
6. Okay, so you got a team of 16. I'm assuming if this keeps on growing, that 6 will come on to full-time and you'll add more people. No problem. Team of 15. How long you been working on this project?
10, 11. Yeah, about. Look, this project in its current form, about a year. A project in terms of building a community and, educating people in crypto and that sort of stuff, about a year and a half.
So you're saying that this has been a year in development, and now it's the time that's like, well, because Cardano's coming on board here.
Yeah, we made the decision to move to Cardano about 6 to 8 months ago because
Awesome.
we actually minted an ERC20 token. We were going to launch on Ethereum.
Oh.
And then we just realized that the philosophy of Cardano was far more closely aligned with the philosophy of our project. It was actually a no-brainer when you thought about it.
And could you line out that philosophy for me?
Yeah, of course. The philosophy of Cardano is to bring people in the disadvantaged parts of the world onto the blockchain to be able to bring them up, right? The entire philosophy of our project is to give education to the people of the world on blockchain to also be able to bring them up, right? Because we want to be able to bring people to hopefully a better standard of living, right?
Yeah.
Now within that, Ethereum, when you've got things where you're dealing with shit like, excuse my language, but $50 bloody gas fees, right? Incredibly not a very scalable system. Even with ETH 2.0, it's still not the most scalable system, right? It just doesn't seem to me as if that system is focused on bringing people up, right? That system is focused on maintaining itself, which is fine.
Of course, it prices people out of the market. $50
Exactly.
transaction, you got to have at least a $300 transaction to. I mean, that's even terrible, right? You got to have
Even
like
that's terrible.
$1,000
You'd have at
transaction.
least 3,000 if you want 10%.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
5,000 for
$50.
1%.
Yeah,
Right?
it doesn't make sense to make a $50 transaction. So it prices me out. I'm sitting on on ETH on ERC20 coins because I can't get out of them.
You can't get out of them. I know, right? I had the worst one. Alpaca.
I have
And this
Alpaca.
was it. You have Alpaca? Yeah, great little token. I did fantastically on it. I got in at like day 2, day 3.
Oh,
right?
that's awesome. Good for you.
And then it went absolutely wild, right? Then I tried to sell out of it, and I didn't get much. I only got like $40, and the $40 turned into like $700. And then Uniswap charged me $78 to get out.
It doesn't make sense.
And I'm just like, it doesn't even feel good that I've made money anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there angry at Uniswap, just being
Yeah.
like, that's more money than I put into the trade.
It's terrible. It's terrible. What are you doing over here? It's pretty bad. And so I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, I totally forgot about the low fees on ADA, on Cardano. I totally forgot about the speed. I mean, I'm just talking about the technical prowess of it getting on there, but there's some basic stuff that is much better. I mean, so here's the problem with like on Ethereum, you've got pretty decent security, you've got decent projects on there, but it prices you out of the market. On Binance Smart Chain, it's the freaking Wild West. It's like a Wild West saloon
Casino
that
chain.
everyone's fighting. You know what I mean? That's crazy in there, And then you've got this magic place that has the gates have yet to be opened, and Cardano, and I think that's a good spot. I think it's really, I think that's a smart choice for you guys. So bravo, I agree with that one for sure. Was that a hard decision to make, or was it pretty easy to make that?
Like, for me, it was a very easy decision. For my marketing manager, it was a pretty easy decision. For some other people in the team, it was a little bit harder because it was also saying to everyone, we're going to have to wait a long time before we can start making money. Right? And this project up until this point has pretty much been entirely self-funded.
Wow.
So I'm mostly covering the expenses myself and 2 of my partners. I trade the money, and essentially we're paying for the project off the money that I trade.
Wow.
So that's how we've been funding up until this point, right? So it's going to be nice to have ICO. So finally, I can not just have an evacuation from my wallet at all times.
Sure.
But that's not the principal reason why we're doing it. Of course, we want this ICO to be an opportunity for people to get to know us and to see what it is that we're doing in this ecosystem as well.
Oh no, dude! I mean, I'm a businessman. I consider myself a business savvy. I feel like I need to motivate the developers, the people that produce. If you put out awesome value in the world, you deserve money. This is my certificate of gratitude towards people, and so I have no problem.
Thank you.
With you making money if you are able to develop all of this and bring more value into the world at big scale, like that. Yeah, dude, you deserve all the best. Honestly, you really do. So I'm excited about the ICO. Can you tell me a little bit about that? This is gonna post, let's say, tomorrow. So tell me about the ICO.
The ICO, if this is posting tomorrow, then the ICO will be in 4 days. The 25th is
25th.
the day that we're hosting it. So I should add, I'm in Australia, so we're like a day ahead. So 6 days in America.
Gotcha.
And then from there, as I said earlier, you just send your ADA, and then we're going to automatically send you back Fi-Fi. It's going to be super easy. Like if you've ever done a CNFT, it's going to be very similar to a CNFT purchase.
I don't know what that is. I haven't.
Cardano non-fungible token, just an NFT on Cardano.
Oh, CNFT. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
So where you just send the ADA and then they just send you back the NFT automatically.
Gotcha. I've got a couple bigger meta questions here because I just want to soak up your time if you don't mind it.
Please.
The first one is what has been the hardest thing that you've had to overcome in this project? Or personal in the last year? Let's just say in the last year, hardest thing you had to overcome.
Look, the hardest thing I've had to overcome in the last year is the fact that I'm living in Melbourne, Australia, which has spent 200 days in lockdown now in the last year. Of those, 140 of those days have had curfew. I mean, I'm essentially living in a prison. So I've been invited to 7 to 10 conferences around the world. I've been asked to speak. Can't leave my apartment.
Wow. Come to Florida, my friend. This is the last bastion of freedom. Come to Florida. I will take you around, my Australian friend.
Well, we've got now we've got 5 kilometer radius as well. So it's just that's probably been the largest personal challenge. I mean, it's because all gyms are closed, everything's closed. And I like running, for example. So I can go for a run outside, but even then, when you've just basically been in prison, your motivation just dies.
Yeah.
Which is why this project has been my life send. I've been able to literally pour my life into it. Because imagine if you're just in a prison and you have nothing to do. You're literally not even allowed to work.
Wow.
So
yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
Let's put all of our creative and intellectual energy into something.
All of the pain of loneliness and prison sentence is diving into this project. Okay, I get it.
And that's why I consider myself, in all honesty, I would consider this lockdown to maybe have been one of the most fortunate things to have happened in my life.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Which is because I don't know if this project would have all come together if they didn't, a year and a half ago when this all started, when we started our first 200-day lockdown, if they didn't say, guess what, you're not allowed to move from your house, you're not allowed outside after 8 p.m, and you're not allowed more than 5 kilometer radius. And we've had that for 200 days.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So if that wasn't the case, I don't know if we would have actually, been able to figure out everything that we have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when all you have to do is work, I mean, things get developed and things start, yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's a bit of a, I guess it's a bit of a catch-22 in that, the biggest challenge could have also have been my biggest fortune.
Gotcha. Well, best of luck, man. I hope you don't, get outside, man. Get outside.
I'm going for a run. I'm going for a run after this. We still go outside. We still go outside. And actually, by the way, I should add, I am intending on coming to America. I hopefully will be out of Australia in October, where I'm going to Europe to do a few conferences, and then I'll hopefully be heading over to America to do a few conferences as well in Miami.
Come Miami?
Yeah.
Yo, let me in. I'll meet you down there.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be at...
I'm 2 hours north. Stay with me.
Yeah, sounds sick. I'd love
I'm serious.
to.
I'm serious.
Yeah,
you guys saw it. It's
to.
happening right here.
Yeah,
we'll talk
absolutely,
after.
man.
We'll
that sounds
after.
sick.
Last one. How much have you seeded into this project?
Personally?
Yeah.
I actually do have a really, really clear number.
Yeah.
Really? Do you want me to tell you?
Of course.
About 180.
$180,000. So you are deep into this project.
Yeah,
you've cut and you've put your blood into this project. So
yeah, I'm definitely invested. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you got a lot of skin in the game here. A lot of skin in the game.
Yeah, I'm not someone who isn't putting my money where my mouth is.
Got it.
And that being said, though, business is a risk inherently.
Of course,
it might not work out for us. Yeah. But what I am really happy with out of all of it has just been the experience that we've got to have, even along the way.
Yeah.
Meeting the people in the community. The crypto community is so forward thinking and they want to change the world. And to be able to just be part of something that might actually change the world is amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I firmly believe that. I want to ask you this last question, right? Mm-hmm. And then before we do that, man, there's so much I want to ask you. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of Vi Finance, guys, look, I'm going to ask you this last question, and then I'll close it out. How do you think crypto is going to change the world? How do you think, and how do you think Vi Finance plays a role in that? Okay, before you answer that, I want you to collect your thoughts. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. No more Dogalon, okay? No more Pup Doge super safe, coin. No more of these terrible, crappy coins that we have to gamble our money on. This right here is like lightning in a bottle. Because in my opinion, this is my humble, not financial advice opinion, you have got the makings of a lot of something amazing here. You've got the initial minimum viable product is already awesome because it's the first mover to market, first of its kind on Cardano, first of its kind really anywhere when it's fully built out. But then you've got a lot of a lateral movement because it could still develop more of these things, right? Like the whole hedge fund for these, old timers or people who don't want to get on. You know what I mean? Like there's so much growth potential there already built in 2 years out. But then the initial is just so tasty to sink your teeth in. Especially we have to get into Cardano. If you're playing on Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, look, crypto's changing all the time. We got to get on Cardano. And I think the best projects will be on Cardano. So definitely check out Vi Finance. Definitely check out the links in the description. Steven, by all accounts, from what I understand, is a big brain, bigger brain than I can ever be. And so I'm just super grateful and humbled to learn from him here.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Hopefully I get to link up with him when he comes to Miami in the future.
I'd love to. That'll
Steven, be great. Let's wrap this thing up. How do you think crypto is going to change the future? And how do you think Vi Finance is going to play a role in that?
Absolutely. And this is what I'm most excited for all of it, right? I worked within the financial industry. I worked for the centralized things. I saw the machinery from the inside and it wasn't pretty. That's one of the big things that motivates me for decentralization, right? And if we can create an effective system, and I hate to use another big word, escrow. If we can create an effective system of escrow throughout the global financial system that doesn't require a middleman, it essentially means that people can manage their own finances. You don't need a bank to make sure that your money is there before you go to a shop to buy something.
Yeah.
Right? So then why would I need a bank to make sure that my money's there before I buy something on eBay? Right? Why would I need a loan person to make sure that I've got an ownership of something when my NFT shows me my ownerships?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That entire process of someone standing there trying to extract as much value out of what is essentially not providing any value disappears.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the person that gives you the loan is providing much. Sorry, the loan is a bad example. That does provide some value. A better example would be a depositing account. It's not like a bank that charges you $10 a month just for the honor of holding your own money.
Right. And they get to use
providing you value.
Yeah.
That's not value.
Yeah.
That's stealing.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's like when you give monetary freedom, it's like that's true freedom right there, right?
Yeah.
When you're not tied to this institution that you need to hold, vast amounts of wealth and money, you are now free to move about and do that. All that energy, all that monetary energy, as Michael Saylor would call it, is compressed and then usable by you and you alone.
The word for it in finance is velocity. The velocity of money.
The velocity of money.
Yes, the quicker that money moves, that's what velocity refers to, the speed at which money moves. And the less intermediaries through which money has to move, the higher the velocity of money, because you can just spend it, right?
Yeah, the less people you have to go through, the faster you can spend it, for sure.
That's it, right? Now, there is actually a direct link between velocity of money and inflation. The faster money moves, the more people spend, and the faster money moves around the economy. Think about it very simply. If you have a high velocity of money and lots of people are going out and buying cars and furniture on a regular basis, now the government's earning a lot more in sales tax. Now you're able to support hospitals better, right? So if we can effectively manage that increase in velocity of money, this crypto gives us a whole new world. It literally opens up the velocity of money to a whole new realm.
Yeah,
right?
so you're increasing volume of everything, sales, manufacturing, jobs, all of it. You're increasing,
taxes, everything.
And then so it all builds up. And so I see. So what you're doing now is you're making money less and less, more and more frictionless.
Yes, that's it.
Less friction, less hurdles, less people that say yes and clearing and approving and all that stuff. And it's all trustworthy. It's all on blockchain. It's all fast, low fees, and it's all simple to understand.
And we're trying to make it simpler.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I think the most exciting, and where Wi-Fi has a role to play in that, is I think specifically for the people that aren't experienced and aren't confident in that adaptation that's coming to the financial system. Right. because a lot of people are scared of change, and rightfully so. Imagine if I don't even need to imagine. My grandmother, who has spent her entire life with the same bank, has gone down to the same bank branch for the last 45 years,
Yeah.
right? And she does everything. She still goes into the branch to do it,
Yeah.
right? Now, that is unfortunately not as rare as you would imagine, right? Maybe not the
No.
people that we hang out with, but it exists.
Yeah,
right?
100%. I am familiar. Yeah, I'm a pastor. I'm with of a bunch of church with a whole bunch of
There
old
you are.
people.
Yeah, so you definitely see it.
100%, dude. These guys,
right?
they're asking me to come over to their house and restart their computer. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah. So
And
I
that's
get it.
and that's the position that I see Wi-Fi holding, right? Wi-Fi holds a position for those that want to be able to do the complex things themselves, but I really see our position in holding people's hands and introducing them to what the power of this can be.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I love it. I am all about it. I am all on board. This is my personal take on it, guys. If you're watching this video, I can't tell you what to do, right? I'm just a cowboy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a little lizard brain. But what all I always see is I see Steven as a pretty trustworthy guy, very knowledgeable, with an amazing project here, and in the context of it inside the Cardano ecosystem is just it's tasty. Man, that's tasty. I am definitely going for this ICO for sure. Steven, thank you so much for being part of this. I mean, I feel you were in the hot seat, but I feel like you put me in the hot seat, man, and you put me in the lecture hall today. Guys, check out their description, check out everything, check out the links in the description. Anyway, don't overthink things, guys. Have a lizard brain, gorilla arms, diamond hands. We're going to the moon. Cowboys ride together, guys.
Thank you.